You were too much. Stop overreacting. I'm talking to you. Those were the complaints. So someone handed it a name, disorder. But nobody stopped to ask why a brain would work that way. Nobody asked what it was built for. Because here's what the diagnosis doesn't tell you. The traits on that list, the obsessive focus, the pattern recognition, the need to get things exactly right, those aren't new. They're ancient. And for most of human history, the people who had them weren't pushed to the edges of the tribe. They were the reason the tribe survived. This is that story. Let's go back 300,000 years. A person is sitting alone. Everyone else has gone to sleep. He's still there, in the dark, striking one rock against another. Again, again, again. Not because he has to, because the edge isn't right yet. Not good enough. Right. What he's making is called a Levallois tool, and it is not simple. To make one, you can't just hit a rock and see what happens. You have to hold a complete 3D picture of that rock inside your mind. Every angle, every fault line, and plan 30 or more strikes in sequence before you land the first one. A single mistake early in the process destroys the whole thing. You start over. Archaeologists have found the evidence of this. Thousands of failed attempts buried alongside the finished blades. Someone sat there, failing, restarting, failing again, not giving up, not getting bored, incapable of getting bored. That is not how most brains work. Most brains cut their losses. Most brains find something easier. But this brain, this specific kind of brain, couldn't leave it unfinished. And 300,000 years ago, that inability was the difference between a tribe that could hunt large animals and one that couldn't. Think about what that means. The trait we now flag in a child's school report as a problem was once so valuable that the entire group reorganized around protecting it. But the tools are only the beginning. In 2010, a researcher named Simon Baron-Cohen, not the comedian, the Cambridge psychologist, published a paper arguing that what we call the autistic cognitive style is essentially a drive to systematize, to find the rules inside a system, to map it, master it, repeat it until it's perfect. Baron-Cohen called it the systemizing mechanism. And he made a quiet observation that most people missed. He said this drive, taken to its extreme, is what produces both the most debilitating autistic symptoms and the most extraordinary human achievements. Same mechanism, different context. Now apply that to the night sky 40,000 years ago. No calendars, no writing, no instruments, just darkness, and stars that moved in patterns most people noticed, but nobody could track with any precision. Until someone did. Someone who couldn't stop looking, who noticed that a specific cluster of stars appeared on the horizon at the same time the herds arrived every year, who tracked it obsessively, season after season, until the pattern was locked, until they knew. We don't know their name, we don't know if they were ever thanked, but we know the result. Ancient humans across multiple continents independently developed star-based calendars for tracking animal migration, not from casual observation, but from the kind of relentless, repetitive attention that most people find exhausting to even be around. That's not a coincidence. That's a cognitive signature. Here's where it gets stranger. In 2017, archaeologist Derek Hodgson published an analysis of Paleolithic cave paintings, the ones in Lascaux, Altamira, Chauvet, the ones that stopped experts cold when they were first discovered because they shouldn't exist. Not at that level. The proportions are accurate. The perspective is real. Some of the animals are drawn in motion with a fluency that took Western art thousands of years to rediscover. Hodgson's argument was careful. He noted that this kind of hyper-realistic visual representation, the ability to see an object and reproduce it with photographic precision, appears at unusually high rates in autistic individuals today. It has a name, hyperlexia of the visual world. The brain processes what it sees without filtering it through abstraction first. It renders rather than interprets. And then he asked the question nobody wanted to ask. What if the people who made those paintings weren't just talented? What if they were working with a different kind of visual brain entirely? We don't know. Science can't fully answer that yet. But the paintings are real, and the cognitive profile required to make them, we recognize it. Now, there's an obvious objection here. If autistic traits were so valuable, why did the social difficulties come with them? Why would evolution keep a trait that makes group life harder? This is the right question, and the answer is the most uncomfortable part of this whole story. It wasn't a flaw in the design, it was the design. A tribe is not one person. It never was. What made early human groups so devastatingly effective wasn't that everyone thought the same way, it was that they didn't. Anthropologists who study hunter-gatherer societies have started mapping what they call cognitive diversity, the idea that different neurotypes weren't just tolerated in ancient groups, they were structurally necessary. Think of it this way. If ADHD was the scout, restless, novelty-seeking, first over the hill, first to find new territory, then the autistic mind was the engineer, the one who took what the scout found and figured out precisely and completely how to use it. And the neurotypical majority, they were the glue, the ones who held the relationships together, managed the conflicts, kept the group from fracturing. You needed all three. A tribe of only scouts never settles long enough to build. A tribe of only engineers never adapts fast enough when conditions change. A tribe of only glue never innovates at all. The social friction wasn't a bug evolution forgot to fix. It was the cost of a specialization so valuable the group paid it willingly. For hundreds of thousands of years, the tribe absorbed that cost because they could see directly, concretely, what they got in return. A sharper blade, a more accurate star map, a painting on a cave wall so real it made people stop breathing. And then something changed. Roughly 10,000 years ago, we stopped moving. Agriculture, settlements, eventually cities, institutions, schools, environments built entirely around social coordination, around the ability to read unspoken rules, switch tasks on demand, sit still, make eye contact, perform. Environments where the engineer's gifts became invisible and the engineer's cost became disqualifying. The traits didn't change, the world did. And here's the part that should sit with you. The genes didn't disappear. In 2019, a large-scale genomic study found that many of the genetic variants associated with autism have been present in the human population for at least 100,000 years. Evolution had tens of thousands of years to remove them. It didn't, which means, with some precision, that the cost was always worth paying. The genome kept the receipt. Go back to that person in the dark, striking rock against rock. The tribe asleep behind them. The edge still not right. That brain is still here. It's in classrooms right now, being told to pay attention to something less interesting than the thing it's already completely focused on. It's in offices, struggling with the performance of small talk while doing the analytical work of 3 people. It's sitting in a doctor's office, listening to a list of deficits, not knowing that every item on that list has a 300,000-year-old counterpart that kept someone's ancestors breathing through another winter. The blade that person was making in the dark. We still have some of them, sitting in glass cases in museums. Tourists walk past them every day without stopping. They should stop. Because what they're looking at isn't just a tool, it's the finished product of a mind that would not leave it undone. A mind the tribe protected, a mind the world still needs and has mostly forgotten how to see. This doesn't make the daily reality light. The sensory overload is real. The exhaustion for the person living it and the people loving them through it is real. But there is a difference between a hard road and a wrong one. These minds were never wrong. They were always just expensive. The tribes that understood it built the world anyway. That's the whole story, really. Right there in the glass case. Now that you know what ancient tribes understood about minds that work differently, and if this one sat with you, give this video a like to help more people find